All right, yesterday we did steps 1 and 2, and now we're gonna do step 3 and step 4, which is how we're gonna glue the fins on and the launch lug, that little white straw that's in the other bag. So for step 3 here, we have to cut out this fin marking guide, and it's right here at the top of the instructions. There's also this other thing we're gonna cut out later. I'll just point out that it's there now though. So we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna cut this out and I'll be right back. All right, so I've cut this off and I'm ready to make some marks on my body tube. You can see I put it on my thumb there, but look at how shiny that is. That tube still has the wax on it. So we need to take our sandpaper and make sure, if you haven't already done this, make sure you wanna just lightly sand that off. Get that wax off there. Rough it up a little bit so the glue has something to hold on to. It's also helpful if you're gonna paint the rocket. You know, the paint will stick better if that wax is gone. So you can see I've roughed it up some. Not putting a lot of pressure. It's basically just the weight of my hand on it. Because I don't wanna fold up the cardboard and damage it. Anyway, so you just gotta be really gentle with it. Just turning it. Making sure it's sanded. Now, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's a little duller now. So you want to pick one end that's going to be the bottom, and you want to wrap this around. Now you're going to notice some letters here. First off, here's an overlap area. That's just where this part overlaps that part. And then they say you can put a piece of tape on this. And you don't have to do that. I usually just hold it with my finger and just make my marks real quick. But, you know, for the sake of following the directions, I'll put a piece of tape on here. All right. Now you notice one line says, this one says FL. FL. And then halfway between this FL and the next FL is this line that says LL. And that stands for launch lug. That's that little white straw. So that straw is gonna go on the side of the rocket and is gonna guide the rocket up the launch rod, keeping it going straight until it hits full speed. And the other 3 lines are for the fins. So what I usually do is I'll take a pencil and I'll make some lines at the bottom for each fin line. So I got one there, one there, one there, and then this launch lug I'm gonna set off a little above. So I did the fin lines on the bottom, I did the launch line above. So now I'm gonna take that paper off. I don't need that anymore, that can go in the trash or in your recycling bin. And then it says here, you wanna measure up 1 3/4 inches from the bottom for that launch lug line. So we're gonna take a ruler, and we're gonna take our launch lug line, is right there, and we're gonna make a line, a mark 1 3/4 inches up. So there's 1 inch, there's a half, and there's 3/4, like that. Then it says, that shows you can do the fins right to the very bottom. If you want, have it go right to the very bottom of the tube. If you wanted to, if you were so inclined, you could go like 1/4 inch up and just make some marks like that. And it's just really personal preference. Do you want your fins right off the bottom, or do you want them offset a little bit? Personally, I like mine right at the bottom. So what we need to do now is we need to make some straight lines where the fins are gonna go, and a straight line where this launch lug is gonna go. So we're gonna make a straight line from that 1 3/4 inch mark up to there. And so the question is, how do you make a straight line? Can you hold a ruler on there and make it straight? No, because you don't know if it's on straight or not. So you need something that could be a straight edge for you while you're doing this. And a very good something is a door frame. What we can do, just gonna open the door real quick, is set this in the door frame and hold it right in there in the crevice and use that as a straight edge. You can do that, or you can use a drawer put this in a drawer like that and just line it up, and then use that as a straight edge to make your mark. I demonstrate, but I'm holding the camera with one hand and the rocket with the other, so you're just gonna have to trust me. Lay it like that, make a straight line for the launch lug, then go to each tube line or fin line, do one there, and do all three of them, and you'll have straight lines on your tube. Be right back. All right, so I've got my lines made, and these are the lines for where my fins are gonna go, and that's the one where the launch lug is gonna go. So in order to glue the fins on, so I want it to be straight on this line, the best way to do this, now I'm gonna do mine so that the little circle, the little hole that's in there is up against the rocket, and that way all three of my fins will go on the same way, because that's what really looks good. So here's the secret to doing this. You take your glue, you put just a little bit of glue on here. Just a little bit. It'd be nice if some glue would come out. There we go. Oh, hang on. Open it up a little bit more. Sometimes these glues aren't that good. Let's try it again. All right, so I'm getting some glue out here now. See how little I'm putting on here? Just a little bit, just to coat it. I don't want it dripping. Just a tiny amount. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna touch it to the line that I drew for the fin, and then I'm gonna leave it off. I'm gonna leave it off for a couple minutes. I'll enjoy the movie that Mr. Grandy's showing, because it is such a good movie. And I'll just wait a couple minutes for that to get tacky, that to get good and tacky. I may even blow it on a little bit, you know, just to start getting it to dry up a little bit. And as it dries, it gets sticky. And then when it's sticky, I can stick it back on, and then it'll stay. Whoops. It stays even better when I don't drop it. But there you go. That's one fin on, and then this is the hard part. You just have to set it on your desk and be patient with it. Let it sit. In about 15 minutes, about 10 or 15 minutes, that fin is gonna be really fairly dried on there. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, wait, that's not a whole lot of glue. That's not a really strong bond. And you're right. But the less glue you use, the faster it dries. And then once it's dry, like the next day, when we come in tomorrow, we can add more glue, and we don't have to worry about the fin falling off. So we should be able to do all three fins like that. And we should be able to get that little white straw out of the bag that has the, see, look, that even fell over and it didn't even come off. That's just how good I am, I guess. Yeah. Stay right there. We can get that little straw that's out of the parachute bag. I'm gonna pull that out now. I'm just gonna cut it open. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing. If you wanted to, you could even take your sandpaper and just very lightly just rough that up. And there's probably a little bit of wax on this too. It's gonna be really lightly, really gentle with it. And I'm gonna put a little glue on it. See, there's just a little bit of glue on there. And then same deal. Gonna touch it on there. And then I'm gonna hold it off, wait a few minutes, and then I'll stick it back on, and then I don't have to worry about it falling off. So you should be able to get all three fins on in one class with one layer of glue. Tomorrow, when we come in the next day, we'll add a reinforcing layer of glue, and then these things will be solid and they'll fly really well. All right, so that's steps 3 and 4, getting the fins on, getting them evenly spaced out, and getting this little launch luggy on. And we're getting closer to going out and launching. So it should look like that. Try and keep it really straight. I mean, try and keep the fins really straight too, but the launch lug is important to also be really straight. All right, see you for steps 5 and 6.